All right, this is an article that just came out September 20th, 2017 in revealnews.org. And this is about how the female incarceration is going up. And a lot of it is due to the white female going to prison in high numbers. And I will show you this later on in a chart that's in this particular article. She is now your number one female in jail in America. Let down and locked up. Why Oklahoma female incarceration is so high. And it's actually growing all across the country. Robin Allen saw her daughter for the first time in 2 years across the yard of Oklahoma's largest women's prison, the Maple Bassett Correctional Center, because the two were serving time for the same 2013 methamphetamine case. They weren't supposed to communicate. But as Allen's daughter, I guess that's Sharice Greer, was being loaded into a van on her way to another prison this summer, the guard turned away. Greer, in an orange prison uniform, called out, "I love you." She told me she loved me and said, "Mom, please don't cry," said Allen, 52, wiping away tears as she recalled the moment. All right. When their paths crossed in June, Allen and her daughter were among more than 3,000 women serving time in Oklahoma, which for 25 years has led the nation in locking up women. The state imprisoned 151 out of every 100,000 women, according to the U.S. Bureau of Justice Statistics, more than double the national rate. In partnership with Frontier, the Oklahoma Journal startup, Reveal from the Center for Investigative Report spent more than a year unearthing the causes. The report, including obtained a decade's worth of state prison data never before analyzed by the state itself. The most common reason women end up in prison: drug possession. And right now, you can say it's all about race, but right now, white people lead in drug addiction in America. In fact, America leads the entire world in drug addiction. So whenever you hear drug possession or anything like that, you can best believe it's the white females mostly. Oklahoma dealt out ever longer sentences for these women, even as other conservative states reduce drug sentences as part of criminal justice system overhauls. Yeah, because there's so many of them going to jail. And see, that is why it's going to be harder and harder for them to keep declaring the drug plague as a public health issue, because many of these people turn around and commit crimes to try to support their drug habits. In Tulsa County, Reveal's analysis show that women's sentences for some drug crimes decreased over the past 7 years. That's where an intensive program funded by oil billionaire George Kaiser Foundation works to provide alternatives to prison for women facing long sentences for drug offenses and other crimes. Female incarceration rate per 100,000 women, and you can see how it's soaring. This is from 1990 and this is 2015, and you can see it is soaring for women in this country. It really is. The burden of the state's high incarceration rate falls hardest on women of color, Black women are incarcerated at about twice the rate of their representation in the state's adult population, reveals analysis show. For Native American women, the disparity is almost 3 times their share of the population. A recent national summit on female incarceration, Oklahoma Governor Mary Fallin called the #1 ranking a dubious honor, not something I'm proud of. I've jokingly told crowds, we don't have the meaner women in Oklahoma. We have some that have some issues, said Fallin, the event's keynote speaker. As a Republican governor of one of the reddest states in the nation, Fallin has warmed slowly to the idea of justice reform. She appointed a task force that studied Oklahoma's justice system and recommended an overhaul to stem the flow of inmates. Recently, she pushed lawmakers to approve new reform laws with mixed results. State voters got tired of waiting for lawmakers to act and pass reforms that became effective in July, making possession of drugs for personal use a misdemeanor. That's because so many white people are getting caught with this particular crime. That's why. Whenever they reduce a crime, that's because a lot of them are doing it and getting caught. It's clear how deeply the state understands the problem because it took 1.5 years for Reveal to obtain a workable database to analyze. Even that data is imperfect, but it's the most complete of several incomplete and flawed data sets provided in response to a public records request filed in January 2016. Reveal found that the average sentence length for drug crimes differed markedly throughout the state, with more rural counties having the highest female incarceration rates. And it's the rural county that has the highest opioid, fentanyl, and heroin addiction too. Stevens County, a largely rural area where Allen and her daughter were convicted, ranked 3rd per capita in sentencing women to prison. Allen was given a 20-year sentence after police found 20 grams of methamphetamines, an amount that meets the legal definition for drug trafficking. Still, her sentence is nearly twice as long as the statewide average for women convicted of trafficking. All right, I'm going to go down just a little more because I want you to see this chart. All right, so I want you to see this because this is what's happening all over the country. Oklahoma incarcerations by race. I want you to take notice to white. These are the white females incarcerated state population. You see how disproportionate that is compared to everybody else? Okay, this is Native, which is slightly higher than the Black female population. Right here, Black female, Hispanic, and Asian, which is the smallest. Oh, somebody's at the door, y'all. I'm going to have to pause. I'll be right back. All right, sorry, y'all. Got a little disruption at the door, but let's get back to the article. Oklahoma incarcerations by race. And like I said before, you can clearly see how it's a disproportionate number of white females in prison compared to, the other females. Actually, Black females has been decreasing every single year. It's nowhere near as many Black women in jail as it was even 10, 15 years ago. Okay. Allen and her daughter, Greer, were low-hanging fruit in Duncan. The town is known for its rich farmlands and colorful crepe myrtles, uh, myrtle trees. A sign on the way into town advertises Duncan as outlaw country. In the 1800s, cowboys drove millions of head of cattle from Texas to Kansas along Chisholm Trail, passing through land that later became Duncan. All right, so this just gets a lot into her and her daughter and what led to their drug arrest and all of that. So I'm just going to kind of skip over some of that. All right. So, she and her daughter got caught up with meth, and they're both serving pretty long sentences. All right. In the end, Alan took a blind plea, leaving the sentence up to the judge, and Enos sentenced her to 20 years for trafficking illegal drugs. That sentence is twice the maximum amount of time recommended by state task force. Enos and the Stevens County District Attorney's Office did not return multiple calls seeking comments. Enos retired from the state judiciary in January 2015 and now serves as a part-time municipal judge. Allen first arrived at the Maple Bassett Correctional Center, a 1,200-bed concrete lockup in central Oklahoma. A guard asked her, "Robin, who did you make mad?" That's when she said she found out that two women on the same pod received 4 and 5 years for trafficking. Wow, she got 20 and only got 4 and 5 years. So Allen wrote to Enos asking him to reduce her sentence. She didn't hear back. All right, so I guess this is a picture of the female inmates. All right, and you can see how it just keeps going up as far as the average sentences for conviction for drugs. So what I'm going to do, because this is a pretty lengthy article, I am going to leave the link to this article in the description box, but it gives you a good, clear vision on what I have been telling you all along, how the white female is now the #1 woman in America going to jail, and she is the #1 female prison inmate. She outnumbers everybody else of different races and ethnicities in jail. As you can see in this article. But please tell me what you think. Leave your comments and subscribe. And if you can donate to my channel, please do. And I know a couple of you have reached out to me about credit repair. And many of you are asking the same question. So the one thing I would like for you to do, if you are interested in me helping you with your credit, please get your credit report from all 3 bureaus. That's what you must do first. Once you get it, you can either email it to me, fax it, or you can mail it to me. But you should see a phone number. I left the toll-free number for you to call and ask for your credit report. And once you get it, just reach out to me, and then I can get started on it immediately. Peace, family.